Hi Libra, welcome to your reading for December. Thanks for tuning in. Join me here while I shuffle. Tune in with your higher self and your guides. Ask them to communicate with my higher self and guides and set up a feedback loop so that we can ring through messages that are tailored for you. Please set aside any tasks that you may have going on. Don't multitask while we're doing this reading. You might want to grab some headphones as well so that you can really pay attention and you're not distracted by other things going on. I want to make sure that you make the most out of your time here with me. So, we're going to look at the general energies available at this time. Last one. Let's get started. Two tens in this reading. This is the third reading I've done today. Oh, there's 3 tens. And all 3 readings I've done today have had multiple tens in them. So it feels like there's some kind of theme, a pattern for all people that probably is something astrological happening. I'm not an astrologer, but I'm just tuning into that. So you have 3 tens in your reading. 2 of them are in reverse, 10 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and then you have the 10 of Pentacles here in the outcome. We'll get into it. What else is here? Just give me a second to tune in. There's some kind of feeling here of like you're not necessarily super excited or even satisfied with your current situation. You might even be bored or lonely for some of you in some situations. But there's a feeling here of like wanting to move on and try something else, or wanting to pursue different path or some kind of other thing. But yeah, I feel like you're actually not really making any movement at this time. Like there's some how do I see that? There's kind of a lack of clarity here in terms of like your own needs or your own expression. There's also here like a feeling of, I'm just tuning in with the 7 of Swords in reverse at the foundation of the reading. Some trust issue, but I feel like it's not another person. I feel like it's you. I feel like you may have like this sensation of like not completely feeling like you totally trust your ability to make decisions at this time. Like there's some uncertainty, there's a bit of cloudiness maybe in your thought process. There's maybe some there could also be some external situation happening where there's some change occurring that it seems to be out of your hands. Like it might, either you or someone around you could be experiencing some kind of like challenging events that are causing some catalyzation and changes in your environment, in your day-to-day activities, that may be leaving you feeling a little bit like stunned maybe. But what I feel here is that it's actually it doesn't actually have to be a bad thing, right? Like it could be here something that is like an externalization of your own thoughts and ideas about wanting to make changes, but your stagnancy or your inability to make a choice, or your apathy or confusion or uncertainty of trusting your ability to make decisions. Could be some kind of external event that actually almost forces your hand to make changes, but it seems like that actually could be a good thing, because you're kind of I feel like you're at the limit of what you've been able to sustain. Like there's a feeling here of like I feel like this need here for you to make a choice or do something else or kind of take a different path or a different direction maybe has been actually in your field for a long time, and you may not have pursued actively a choice of a catalyzation of your own situation because of your inability to trust yourself, or because of your uncertainty, or because of your lack of clarity or cloudiness or confusion or whatever. So there could be some kind of event happening that will actually generate a need for you to make the change that you actually really want, but it might come in a way that feels like you didn't want that, or you weren't ready for that. But actually, it's like you may have actually in your own thought process kind of sent a ripple out into the universe of wanting to do something different than what you are doing, but because you haven't taken action on it, the energy of that thought form is actually proceeding ahead anyway. And it actually is what you want, but it just is coming about in a way that seems like it's out of your hand, but it is actually a thought form that you pushed out into the universe and now is kind of like showing up in the physical manifest world. So there could be some changes to the work environment, to the home environment. There could be some changes to your living environment as well. You might actually change location for some of you. Your personal development is definitely getting a push here. Like, you need to explore territory that you haven't actually pursued yet, because you maybe have been feeling a bit either lazy or uncertain, or like all that stuff I talked about earlier. But there is I feel like there's a willingness in you to actually collect the discipline needed to actually undertake something arduous emotionally. And there is a feeling at the same time of you needing to overcome your own complacency about what you need to do, and about your indecisiveness, and about your inability to feel confidence and trust within yourself to make choices that you know are right for you. There could be some like difficult communication around this time, or there could be like delayed communication, or there could be no communication. There could also be in that, I feel, a kind of it's almost like on the surface, like things look like they're going on as normal, and maybe even to outsiders it might look like things are even better than usual. But below the surface, there's a lot of sorry, I'm stumbling with the words because I'm like trying to find the right words to describe that which is unspoken. So like I'm saying, like externally things might look and seem great, better than ever. Your relationship or your work life or your professional life or yourself in general might appear to others to be on point, but you might actually not be feeling that well in terms of like your confidence or your self-esteem or your sense of well-being, as far as your ability to make distinct decisions that have an impact that may be long-reaching and have a very severe immediate response in the way that your day-to-day life is playing out, if that makes sense. But I feel like a lot of you watching this reading have been delaying decision making, or delaying changes, or delaying endings or culminations or shifts in your life. And for some of you, the result of that will be that there is some kind of shift occurring in your reality that is apparently out of your hands, but it's actually, as I said, a thought form that you pushed out into the universe some time back but didn't act on yet, if that's making sense. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Empress, Ten of Cups, Queen of Wands, and King of Cups. Interesting. All these upright cards. 3 really powerful court card energies. And now you have another 10. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. All of the 10s are in your reading. There's definitely like a turning point here. There's a closing of a cycle. There's a culmination of an energy, and a shift occurring. So from the major arcana cards, you have Empress in this extension part of the reading, Sun in reverse, Tower in reverse. So just a second. I'm hearing restorative and also reconciliation. So if there has been some kind of, specifically with regard to your one-on-one relationship, like family unit kind of energy, it's like there's this kind of, how do I describe that? It's kind of like I was talking about earlier, like on the surface, like externally and to other people, things look better than ever. And maybe you even feel like things are better than ever. But I feel like this is just kind of temporary moment of like something being like a coalescence of energies. But there's still all this stuff down here that's unresolved. There's things that have been, like questions that have been raised or issues that have been, brought to the surface, awareness around things that are problematic or things that aren't really quite working. But for some reason, there's a moment here where like you kind of just put all that aside and you're just looking at what's good and what's beautiful and what's beneficial, and that's good, that's fine, that's okay. But you can't ignore the issues that you raised before and just have like a beautiful moment with a sunset and a rainbow and like disregard everything else that you've already become aware of. That's what I feel. There's some things that really need to be communicated that are not being said. I'm hearing lackluster. There's two kings in this reading. And there's a queen and the empress and the nine of pentacles. These three cards are really beautiful. All these very earthy, very empowered, divine feminine energies that feel really, confident and assured and grounded. And then there's all this stuff. So there's what's being expressed in the world externally, and then there's what's being processed and revealed in the kind of quiet spaces. And I feel like it's important that you don't ignore what you are feeling and experiencing in your emotional spaces and masking it with, rainbows and flowers. And it's enjoy, for sure. Enjoy, experience that beauty of life, but don't ignore the issues that you are aware of, because they won't go away. There is definitely things here that still need to be unpacked and resolved, understood, alchemized, processed, communicated, released, Like this Seven of Swords and this Ten of Wands and this Ten of Pentacles. Like the fact that they're all in reverse here, and I feel like this is indicating that you have an awareness of a limitation that's already been reached, but you may not wish to actually address it properly. And so this Seven of Swords is almost like, you know, you could be like actually cheating on yourself, because you might be denying what you actually have already known and understood, and you're kind of pushing it to the side in order to experience what you think and see and feel is like beautiful and idealistic. It's just what I feel here. I think I'm gonna close up this part of the reading and move on to the higher octave to see if I can get a bit more clarity on that, because that's the energy I'm feeling from this spread, but I want to get a little bit more information from the next reading to really go into it a little bit further. So let's take a look with the Voyager deck at the higher octave reading. Please join me again while I shuffle. Tune in, send your energy into the deck. We're going to try to see if there's any information we can reveal that might describe hidden forces at play or any blind spots that we might have. And hopefully your guides and your higher self will be able to provide a little bit of practical advice that we can deliver here for you to be able to, you know, use and to be able to make the most out of your experience that you're having right now. One more shuffle. Five of Crystals at the bottom of the deck. So there's the Universe in reverse, crossed by the Two of Cups. Judgment in reverse, Hermit. Man of Cups. So there's this King of Cups here now. There's the Sun, repeating. Ace of Wands reversed. Nine of Pentacles reversed. Two of Swords, Priestess. Four of Crystals. Four of Wands reversed. Eight of Wands reversed, and Ace of Pentacles reversed. So two aces in reverse here, two fours in your reading. You had this Eight of Wands in the previous reading in reverse as well. Here it is repeating again. There is the Nine of Pentacles that you had in the previous reading. Here it is again, this time in reverse. So a few repeating cards here. I feel it's like... this card is giving a little bit more of like a, this reading, I feel, is giving a bit more of a honest kind of review, in a way. What I feel is here is, okay, so you have two twos as well as two aces. What it's saying here is that there's a real need to actually be super honest and almost... like there's this cold, hard truth feeling that's coming through with this reading. Like cold, hard truth. Like this is kind of fluffy and beautiful. And this is really raw and real and honest. So you have World in reverse. This central axis here of the reading is all major arcanas. So Hermit at the bottom of the reading, the foundation in the subconscious mind. And then you have the World reversed and then Judgment in reverse. So what this is telling me is that, and then the crossing card is Two of Cups. So for some of you, this is a relationship reading. It is somewhat describing here that there is sort of a need for you to really honestly review what you have understood, what's been revealed in recent times, and work with that energy of revelation, of understanding, of truth coming to light, to generate a rebirth for yourself, to transmute and catalyze energy in a way that only you can do. It can be really profound if you do it in a way that's really willing and very proactive, right? That's kind of what I'm feeling overall in this reading, is that there's this energy of complacency in you, of kind of letting things be as they are, even if you have questions that you've raised, if there's concerns, if there's, you know, considerations that you have already begun to process and contemplate, but you may be letting yourself be comfortable or be okay with that indecisiveness or with that complacency and let things carry on the way that they are, it may not, there may be a detrimental effect of that, and that you might be having this moment now where you're able to kind of, in a certain way, kind of put things together mentally for yourself so that everything looks beautiful, and it is. But there's also all these genuine concerns that you have that are affecting your day-to-day existence, that if you don't really fully embrace and address and cultivate a practice of alchemy and transmutation through wisdom, through truth, through knowledge, through meditation, through action, it will just maintain its position as unmet potential. That's what these two aces in reverse are saying. There is potential here, but unless you actually take action on that potential through decisive course correction, you may miss an opportunity that's here for a really pretty major upgrade in your personal and spiritual vibrational like resonance, because there is like this energy here of closure, of revelation, of understanding, of like an initiation process that you've been going through maybe for quite some time. There is this feeling of like your soul wanting to reach onward and upward to the next level in its progression, in its development. But because there is this complacency, there is this indecisiveness, there is a inactivity. In a way, there's like all this awareness, but nothing doing with it. I know that was bad English, but unmet potential with the two aces. Unmet potential. Let's see what the bottom of the deck is. Yeah, 5 of crystals reversed. Another ace now. Ace of crystals. And there's the man of crystals, which we had in the previous reading. This is the king of swords. Both are in reverse. And devil's play. So, for some of you, what you're dealing with actually is simply attachment, possessiveness, dependency. And that could be the key to this whole reading, is that you might be aware of all these things, but you kind of push that to the side because you just want to see the beauty, and you want to feel love, and you want to feel compassion, and you want to feel joy and all those things. And yeah, that's great, but you may not be addressing your dependencies, your attachments, your possessiveness, or your whatever type of unhealthy kind of conditioning is keeping you in a certain space that you're in now. And even if you could very well be aware of it, but choosing to not do anything about it because it's comfortable to be uncomfortable somehow. Something like that. But this hermit is a very telling part of this reading. Hermit in the foundation, in your unconscious mind. It's almost like there's something in you that knows that maybe you need to, like, again, kind of maybe extract yourself from an environment so that you can really feel your own energy outside of the context of the reflection that you're getting, right? You have 3 2s in this reading. Priestess, 2 of cups, 2 of crystals. So there's something about the reflection that you're getting that may be giving you a skewed read on your own reality, and you may not be even actually able to fully deduct where you are in the scheme of things because of the proximity that you have to another individual that may be giving you like a false reading on your own energy, and that might be what's making it confusing and difficult for you to actually take action and do something on what you've already understood or what has been revealed to you. And there's in the hopes and fears energy here with this 2 of crystals and the 4 of wands in reverse. I feel what this is suggesting here is that you may be afraid to kind of go out on your own, like to go out on a limb, to trust yourself, to kind of aspire to something greater, because maybe there again, with that dependency and attachment here with the Devil card, there may be this feeling of like, possibly, and it's not for everyone, obviously, general reading, but there could be a feeling there of you maybe not having the trust again in yourself, or the willpower, or the strength or determination, or to actually aspire for what you know is possible, because you're in a situation where, like I said, there is that kind of maybe unhealthy attachments or addictions or possessiveness or control or dependencies or whatever. But I feel like your spirit, your soul, and your higher self is urging you to actually reach for more. Like, allow yourself to actually comprehend your potential in a way that gives you a greater self-confidence in your own ability to actually achieve what's yours. I feel to say also here that there is a feeling in this reading too of being too comfortable in your own limitation. You know, whether that's your own, the decisions you've made about what you think is possible for you, or whether that's about, you know, the partnership that you're in, if you're in a partnership, and the way that you may feel, again, safe in a certain way, but actually there's a limitation in your own ability to kind of reach your potential, because there is some kind of like contraction or restriction in a certain way within a particular dynamic. A lot of energy from the swords element, the air element here. You have Ace of Crystals, Two of Crystals, Four of Crystals, Five of Crystals, Man of Crystals. So I feel like there is, what that's telling me is that there's a need here for you to perhaps go back in your mind to the early ideas, the concepts that are able to bring you to some kind of regeneration of. There's like this sense, I have this feeling here of you kind of being caught in a bit of a loop with the way you're able to progress your ideas forward. And there may be a need here to kind of like maybe even just wipe the slate clean and come back to the core and the beginning of something and start to progress forward from there. Maybe even not thinking too much, but actually meditating and clearing the mind, but actually witnessing the thoughts that are coming through and perceiving and observing your thoughts from the place of like the high priestess, the higher self, the wisdom, the understanding from a really wide angle lens of perceiving, you know, like listening, letting your mind kind of roll out and actually witnessing, and from that place you can start to edit rather than trying to solve the problem by thinking about it, if this is making sense. Just checking over here, but I feel like I'm going to close out this reading now. I'm not sure if there's much else I can say here. But what's, again, overall is very strong in this reading is the sensation of your reluctance to act upon what you know and feel to be really authentically true. And there's a feeling here of being a little bit too comfortable in complacency, or too comfortable in dependency, or too comfortable in indecisiveness. And I think that's the main point here that needs to be addressed. Libra, that's your reading. Thank you so much for watching. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. I hope you found some things in there that you can work with. It's a general reading, so not everything will resonate with everyone. So just work with what feels like yours and always be honest. And thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting, and I will see you in the next reading.